Well, good evening. Welcome to Bedtime Stories with me, Pastor Michelle. Today is Sunday, February 7th, and our Disney story of the night comes to us from Toy Story. And the title of the story is Ham's Heavy Burden. Ham's head hung low. He had barely moved in days. Ham just hasn't been himself, Woody said. He doesn't play with us anymore, and Andy has been paying more attention to him than ever. Woody stood up and walked over to Ham. "Oh, hey, Woody," the piggy bank said sadly. "What do you say me and you take a walk down to the toy box and say hi to the Green Army men?" Woody said. Ham's eyes lit up, but when he looked across the room, his face drooped again. "No, thanks," he said, with a sigh. Woody put his arm around his friend. Something was wrong. "Talk to me, Hammy. What's going on? You're not yourself." Ham looked at his hooves shyly. "It's just, well, do I look fat?" Woody put his hand over his mouth to keep from laughing. "Ham, you're a Woody stopped himself when he saw Ham's hopeful look. "A perfectly proportioned pig," Woody said. "I just feel so heavy lately, and I should feel great. Andy's been dropping coins in my slot almost every night. I can't remember when he paid this much attention to me. I mean, I'm not you." Woody nodded. He knew Andy paid a lot more attention to him than to most of the toys in the room, but he wasn't sure what to say to Ham to make him feel better. The next morning, Woody was still worrying about Ham when Andy raced into the room. He pulled Ham off the shelf, took the cork out of his belly, and shook him over the bed. Coins rained out of Ham's stomach. "Thanks," Andy said, patting the piggy bank. He gathered up his loot and dashed out of the room. "Wow, do I feel better?" Ham danced a little jig. "But now maybe I'm a little too empty." Woody and Bo Peep beamed. "Looking lean there," Bo Peep said, poking Ham in the side with her staff. "Heads up," cried Woody, tossing Ham a new coin. All right, that was a fun story. So let's hear about one woman tonight. And our woman is Joan Bamford Fletcher, a remarkable rescuer. All right. So Joan grew up on a dairy farm in Canada. Her family was from England, so she attended boarding school in England when she was old enough. She furthered her education in France and Belgium. She eventually returned to Canada, and when World War II began, she wanted to do her part to help. She trained as an ambulance driver for the Canadian Red Cross. It wasn't enough. She then joined the First Aid Nursing Yeomanry and was sent to drive ambulances in Scotland for the exiled Polish army. She wanted to do more, and she got her chance, just as the war ended. On September 2nd, 1945, the Japanese surrendered, but the plight of Dutch civilians held captive in the jungles of Sumatra did not end. They were living in horrible conditions. Disease was rampant, food was scarce. They desperately needed help. The entire area was in chaos. Japanese soldiers were trying to get back home. Soldiers had not arrived to protect and evacuate the prisoners. Indonesian rebels and other groups were still fighting for control. Joan was sent to transfer the prisoners safely through the mountainous jungle to a port on the Indian Ocean, all 2,000 of them. It would be an incredibly difficult task, but she didn't hesitate. The first thing she did was convince the Japanese army to loan her vehicles, armed soldiers, and a translator. They did, although they resented taking orders from a young woman, at least at first. Joan divided the prisoners into groups, and for six long weeks, she accompanied. I don't know why I can never say that stinking word. She went with them on a hazardous 12-hour journey to safety. Bridges had been blown up, so they had to use makeshift boats to get across rivers. Monsoon rains turned the already treacherous mountain roads into mud. The rebels barricaded other roads while machine gun-toting Japanese guards kept them at bay. One day the rebels got too close and Joan was hit by one of their trucks. After being stitched up and bandaged, she rejoined the convoy. Despite the dangers, Joan personally went with the prisoners on every single trip, all 20 trips. Although reluctant at first, the Japanese soldiers grew to respect and admire Joan's determination to complete her mission. One of the Japanese officers was so impressed by her courage that he presented her with his 300-year-old ancestral samurai sword. In 1946, Joan was awarded the Order of the British Empire for her bravery and dedication to saving lives, an honor this hero so richly deserves. Well, thank you to Joan for saving all of those lives and leading them to safety. So we'll continue tomorrow. God bless you all and have a wonderful, wonderful night.